Easter Island had always fascinated me with its mysterious stone statues, the Moai standing sentinel over the land. I was a travel writer, always chasing the next story, and Easter Island promised a tale rich with history and intrigue. What I didn't anticipate was a brush with the supernatural that would haunt me forever. I arrived on the island in early June. The weather was mild, the skies clear. The locals were friendly, but spoke in hushed tones when I mentioned my intention to explore the island at night. "The night marchers," they whispered, casting wary glances around. "Ancient spirits, warriors who roam the island when the moon is high." Intrigued but skeptical, I brushed off their warnings. I had heard many such tales in my travels, and none had ever proven true. Still, the allure of a ghostly encounter was too tempting to pass up. I resolved to venture out after dark and see for myself. On the third night, with the moon casting an ethereal glow over the island, I set out. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, illuminating the path ahead. The statues, eerily lifelike in the moonlight, seemed to watch my every move. Despite my initial confidence, a chill crept over me as I walked, the silence of the night amplifying every sound. I wandered for what felt like hours, my footsteps echoing in the stillness. Then I heard it, a faint drumming, growing louder with each passing moment. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned off my flashlight and crouched behind a Moai, peeking out cautiously. A line of spectral figures appeared on the horizon, marching in perfect unison. They were dressed in ancient warrior garb, their faces stern and determined. The Night Marchers. The stories were true. Fear gripped me, and I stayed perfectly still, barely daring to breathe. The procession moved closer, the drumming now deafening. As they passed by, I could see the hollow eyes of the warriors, their expressions devoid of life, yet filled with an eerie determination. I felt a strange compulsion to follow them, to understand their purpose. Against my better judgment, I crept from my hiding place and trailed them at a distance. We walked for miles, the terrain growing rougher. The warriors paid no heed to the obstacles, gliding over rocks and ravines as if they were mere illusions. I struggled to keep up, my legs aching, but a force beyond my control compelled me onward. Finally, they halted at a cliff's edge overlooking the ocean. The lead warrior raised a conch shell to his lips and blew a mournful note that echoed across the water. The others stood silent and still, their gaze fixed on the horizon. I watched, mesmerized, as the sea began to churn violently. From the depths rose a massive stone figure, a Moai unlike any I had seen before. It towered above the waves, its features fierce and imposing. The warriors turned as one to face me, and I felt an icy dread wash over me. The leader stepped forward, his eyes boring into mine. "You should not be here," he intoned, his voice like the rustling of ancient leaves. "You have trespassed on sacred ground." I didn't mean any harm," I stammered, backing away. "I just wanted to see—" "Silence!" he commanded. "You have seen too much. Now you must pay the price." The warriors advanced, their forms shimmering in the moonlight. I turned to run, but my legs felt like lead. I stumbled and fell, my body refusing to obey. They were upon me in an instant, their cold hands gripping my arms and legs. Panic surged through me as they lifted me effortlessly and carried me toward the cliff's edge. "Please," I begged. "I'm sorry. I'll leave and never return." The leader looked down at me, his expression unreadable. "You cannot leave. Your fate is sealed." With a final terrifying cry, they hurled me over the edge. I plummeted through the air, the wind roaring in my ears. The icy water embraced me, pulling me down into its depths. I struggled, but it was futile. The darkness closed in, and I knew I was lost. When I awoke, I was lying on the shore, the sun rising in the distance. My body ached, and my clothes were soaked through. I stumbled to my feet, disoriented and terrified. The night marchers were gone, but their presence lingered in the air. I fled the island that day, my mind reeling with the night's events. I tried to convince myself it was a nightmare, a hallucination brought on by exhaustion and fear. But deep down, I knew the truth. The night marchers were real, and I had narrowly escaped their wrath. Now, whenever I hear the faintest hint of drumming, a chill runs down my spine. The memory of that night haunts me, a constant reminder of the ancient spirits that roam Easter Island. I never wrote about my encounter, fearing that no one would believe me. But the story lives on in my mind, a testament to the power of the supernatural and the dangers of venturing into the unknown. For those who dare to explore Easter Island, heed my warning. Respect the land and its ancient guardians. Some secrets are best left undisturbed, and some spirits should never be awakened.